Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Rishi Harinan and C News is live at noon. Topping the news at this time, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has apologized to citizens who are being affected by the issues facing the Seabridge, especially the people of Tobago. In a statement today, Dr. Rowley said the unsuccessful attempt to find a replacement passenger ferry is a matter of great disappointment to him and the majority of Tobagonians who rely on this service for their comfort and livelihood. He said he understands the efforts made by those charged with the responsibility and the particular difficulties which they faced in the process. At the time when the port sought a vessel which is anticipated would have been on the route by this time. The Prime Minister said in order to bring relief to those citizens who rely on the inter-island service, he is appealing to all those on the job of this assignment to redouble their efforts without compromising principles and within all contractual safeguards to ensure that an acceptable service is restored at the earliest opportunity. He ended by saying government is not unmindful of the plight of citizens and is currently engaged in making all reasonable efforts to remedy the situation in the short term. Well, in a separate statement, the Prime Minister says that he is proceeding on a private weekend trip to Barbados. Dr. Rowley leaves Trinidad and Tobago today, Friday, August 11, and will return on Monday, August 14. The Office of the Prime Minister says the travel and accommodation for this trip were paid by the Prime Minister himself and not the state. In Dr. Rowley's absence, the Minister of Finance, Com Imbert, will act as Prime Minister. Well, the issues facing the Seabridge as well as the Airbridge are posing a challenge for organizers of one event which is to take place in Tobago on Sunday. The chairman of the Gospel Teleathon says it's been difficult for artists to get to the island.
Those are serious challenges that we face. And if we face them in an event like this, you could imagine the headache that people get who normally travel on a weekend just to come to Tobago or back to Trinidad. That's the kind of challenges that you find.
Mr. Thomas says several people wanting to attend the show are also having problems getting to the sister isle.
There are a number of members from our church faith who wanted to come across for the event who just virtually had to cancel because there's just no flights. The Seabridge continues to be a challenge. And I hope earlier than ever that this situation, somebody treats the situation with urgency.
The Teleathon is an initiative by the Canaan Seventh-day Adventist Church to provide for less privileged children in Tobago. The theme this year is No Child Must Go Hungry. An 8-year-old girl and a 40-year-old female relative have died in an early morning fire at their home. At least 8 people are also now homeless. At around 2 o'clock this morning, fire broke out at the home of the Gopal family at St. Mary's Road, Maruga. 8-year-old Aliyah Primus, a primary school student, and her 40-year-old aunt, Nisha Gopal, perished in the blaze. Their bodies were discovered by firemen. Investigators are still to determine what caused the 2-story house to go up in flames. Member of Parliament for Moruga Tableland, Dr. Lovell Francis, said he got a call about the fire at around 4 a.m. He said the entire community has been plunged into mourning.
Rare occurrence that something of this tragic nature happened. Material things can be replaced, but no one can be replaced. No one can replace your loved one. Basically, the entire community was out, keeping vigil with the family. I mean, there's very little that you could say to give comfort to someone who literally sees the dead bodies of their relatives coming out of what used to be their home. There's nothing you can say to really give them any relief, but I think being there and supporting them in person does bring some measure of comfort, and that's what we are trying to do.
The MP said support will be given to the family to help them cope at this time.
My staff at the moment is going to visit the family with persons from social development. I'm sure disaster management will be there. So there will be that first responder relief. But this is going to be a process going forward, and I am pledging to lend whatever support I can as a member of Parliament, but also as someone who is familiar with the family and knows some of them very well. So, my heart really goes out to them. Lend them whatever support we can to get their lives back on track.
And police are investigating the murder of a teenaged boy in Freeport. The body of 15-year-old Emmanuel Okiro was found floating in a pond this morning. The body bore stab wounds to the neck and face. Emmanuel left home at around 2:15 yesterday afternoon to go to the Bethel House of God Church, where he normally sets up for a fruit stand to vend. His mother called him and an hour later checked on him, and she told police he spoke to her. Further calls later went unanswered. Not hearing from him, she went to the location to check on him but could not find him. She noticed blood and called police. Sergeant Job searched the area but did not find the boy. Police went back to the scene this morning and searched the adjoining land where they saw Emmanuel's body floating in the pond. This is the C News Live report at noon. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest news on our website at ctvtt.com, or you can check out our Facebook and Twitter pages at C News Live. He has my number, he can call me anytime. The response from former Government Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal to the Minister of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, Clarence Rambarat. Minister Rambarat wants help in locating documentation that would provide the basis for awarding contracts for sand mining in 2015. Agriculture Minister Clarence Rambarat said in 2015, the Estate Management and Business Development Company fell under the former Government Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal, and contracts for sand mining were awarded on the eve of the announcement of the 2015 election date. And those contracts, he said, were questionable. As a result, he wants Dr. Munilal to help in finding them.
Under our tenure, we allowed the providers of red sand to continue on a short-term basis while we asked the mineral divisions of the Ministry of Energy to introduce new policies and new legal and regulatory framework for that sector and for that work. But we never stopped the provision of building materials to the construction sector. If Mr. Rambarat needs my help, I'm prepared to assist him. He can just, give me a call anytime. He has my number, and I'll be prepared to assist him.
He noted the current issue with the red sand shortage came about because government opted to stop the operators from the quarry without putting in place proper arrangements.
If you are saying there were no contracts in place, those persons were being paid pursuant to board decisions. In some cases, there was no need for contracts because the arrangement was over years. I can tell you, the people who were providing sand, red sand, they were the same people providing that under Patrick Manning government, under Uttara Rao, EMBDC, prior to 2010. In fact, I don't think we made any changes.
Dr. Munilal went on to say EMBD had a board in place when contracts were awarded and should have proper documents.
The board would have taken decisions to extend contractual arrangements with those providers of red sand. There will be board minutes and so on. If Mr. Rambarat believes something was wrong or something was amiss, he can report the matter to the police if he believes the law has been broken. But what they are doing is they're playing foolishness now with sand.
Dr. Munilal said EMBD has simply collapsed because it has spent all its time chasing shadows and witch hunting. And Dr. Munilal says he has several questions for Minister Rambarat as it relates to him at the police shooting range in St. James. He said he will file several questions in the Parliament on this matter.
The minister's job is not shooting, incidentally. It's policy making, it's cabinet responsibility, parliament responsibility, and lawmaking. It's not shooting. And I think it is frightening that ministers of government, their wives and children, are now, using firearms on military installations and police firing range and so on, under the guise of protecting themselves. I can tell you, when I was in government, I also faced the threat. At no time was I provided with training for shooting.
Well, on Thursday, Minister Rambarat said he got proper authorization to be at the shooting range. He had said he was visiting the Police Training Academy shooting range for his own personal safety, as his ministry is responsible for the second largest law enforcement units in the country. A lawsuit has been filed in the High Court to have one candidate, Nicole Dyer-Griffith, removed from the Congress of the People's political leader election. The election is scheduled for Sunday, August 20th. The action was filed on Thursday by Kurt Francis, a former executive officer of the COP, against the party's leader, Dr. Anirudh Mahabir, and Clyde Weatherhead. In a statement, the party said attorneys acting on behalf of Dr. Mahabir and Mr. Weatherhead have written rejecting demands made in the legal proceedings by Mr. Francis for the two defendants to prevent Mrs. Dyer-Griffith and 34 other members from voting in the election, and also to prevent Mrs. Dyer-Griffith from being a candidate and having the election with only two candidates. The party said there seems to be a concerted effort to prevent the COP from holding elections and continuing to build itself as a real alternative to the established political parties. Over 4,000 applications for municipal constables have been received by the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government. It said so far 541 potential candidates were shortlisted to write the examination, out of which 488 were successful. The ministry said on Thursday interviews for the 488 prospective new municipal police constables began, and this process will continue over the rest of the month of August. Minister Kazim Hossain said the Office of Law Enforcement Policy will conduct a 4-month training for new recruits, which has been tailor-made to suit the roles and responsibilities of the Municipal Police Service. The minister said that his aim is to restore a sense of security in every community by having more officers to conduct foot patrols, act as first responders, and provide mentorship to the youth. The Minister of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, Clarence Rambarat, says at this time he is not aware of any increase in the price of red sand. This after reports of a shortage of the construction material.
EMBD is working to get that information from the Contractors Association. EMBD is also working with NIDCO to establish the requirements for the construction sector for red sand. Over the coming months, we recognize that the government's construction program will place a demand for the red sand, and EMBD intends to meet that demand through the appropriate arrangements with the construction sector.
He said there are 2 sand pits operational at this time to alleviate the problem.
There's one operating at Windsor Park, which is a heavily depleted sand pit, depleted through inappropriate management over the years, and that sand pit we have identified that we still have some sand available, a particular area where we can still do some mining, so that mining will resume. And we have another operator in a place called Coco Road in the Esperanza area, and that contractor, that operator will be allowed to resume mining.
Now, tomorrow, August 12th, marks the celebration of International Youth Day. This year's theme is Youth Building Peace, and the Trinidad and Tobago arm of the Commonwealth Youth Peace Ambassador Network is reinforcing its commitment to creating a more peaceful TNT. Country coordinator of Saipan, Teres Lord, said it is critical that this society invests in its youth if it hopes to create a better tomorrow.
Hope for sustainable development or a sustainable Trinidad and Tobago, if there is an absence of peace and a paucity of internal stability and, diminishing regard for human rights, that includes and is predominantly focused on the rights of youth. Youth are the leaders of tomorrow. So we need to invest in them. We need to invest in their education. They need to be critical, constructive, and civic-minded citizens.
Despite not winning gold, congratulations must be sent to Jerome Richards. The athlete ran a splendid race and came 3rd in a hotly contested 200 meters finals on Thursday. Meanwhile, Kishon Walcott made it look easy in his javelin event, achieving the qualifying standard of 83 meters in his first throw with a bold 86.01 effort, the 3rd best among qualifiers, which sets him up nicely for the final and another assault on the medals. Well, congratulations there to Kishon Walcott, and hopefully, he will bring us home a medal in the final event. We turn now to some cricket news. St. Lucia Stars' poor CPL continued on Thursday night as they were beaten by 21 runs via Duckworth-Lewis method by Barbados Tridents. On the flip side, Kyron Pollard's red-hot form on the road continued, following his 62 of 33 balls against Jamaica Tallawahs. Pollard blitzed 5 fours and 6 sixes in an unbeaten 35-ball 83 to take Tridents to an insurmountable 196 for 4. Captain Darren Sammy's head was already drooping after a sloppy Stars fielding performance, but his shoulders sank as well after the top 6 were outdone and dusted with just 64 on the board. Though Sammy lifted spirits briefly with a fearless 50 of 23 balls, the fastest of the CPL 2017, Rain dashed any hopes of an improbable comeback. But tonight, the action continues at the Queen's Park Oval in Port of Spain. The Trinbago Knight Riders will take on the Guyana Amazon Warriors. And good luck to TKR in this evening's game. That's it for sport. Well, that's how we end the C News report at noon. I'm Rishi Harinana. And remember, for up-to-date and breaking news throughout the day, visit the C News website at ctvtt.com. On behalf of all of us here at CTV, have a good afternoon.